Hi guys, I'm April.
I'm Jason.
Thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. We appreciate you coming, and we are trying to give you tips every single week for photography to help you grow in your journey.
We're Dallas-based photographers. We've shot over 100 weddings together, and they are a lot of fun. A lot of work though, but a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So today we are going to get into basically some quick wins if you're kind of newer using the camera.
Yeah.
But also, before we get into that, if you don't mind pausing this video and maybe giving us a like, maybe subscribing to the channel, but at the very least, if you're trying to up your education and photography game, maybe download. There's a link below with a free video that you can download that will walk you through some on-demand stuff. So if you want to do that now, we'd appreciate it. Thanks, y'all.
Hey guys, we're back, and we want to tell you how to up-level your game today by just some simple switches that you can do in your photography to help level up.
The first is not that simple.
It is actually pretty simple. You're just changing your settings from JPEG to RAW. So all you're doing is going to the back of your camera. If you're shooting on a digital camera, this doesn't really work for an iPhone, sorry, iPhone users, but if you are already shooting and you're not quite sure what JPEG means, what RAW means, all of those things seem very complicated, but it's really not. It's just changing those settings to a RAW format so that your camera is using a lot more of its capabilities, meaning that your megapixels are bigger, you're getting all the extra details in your camera that it can do, especially when you're shooting in JPEG, everything compresses. Everything gets very, very fuzzy, and then you're trying to share it later online, and it just doesn't look as good as what your camera can do. So switch to RAW. Yeah,
switch to RAW, and then the other reason you would do that is because if you're editing your pictures, which is maybe, if that's maybe a little farther down the road for you, then don't worry about it. But if it isn't, if you are editing pictures in JPEG, then you should switch to RAW right now because it really does take away a lot of your creative rights as a photographer because there's not as much editing you can do. Is that correct?
Yeah, especially if you overshoot, overexpose, or you underexpose pictures. It's going to make it very, very noisy when you're trying to bring up those brighter spots, or if you've shot already a little bit too bright and trying to bring it back down, it's going to not be as easy when you're editing. So switch to RAW. Number 2 is to shoot in golden hour. Quick win, really easy. Just shooting in golden hour makes everything so much softer. Skin tones, backdrops, no matter if you're shooting with an iPhone or a professional camera, your images are gonna instantly look better. And I promise you, I know this because I've tried it with my iPhone, and it's just better at golden hour. What golden hour is
an hour,
you haven't been watching.
An hour before the sun sets or an hour after the sun rises. Yes, we always mess that up.
Yes.
So, but we got it this time.
If you can't shoot in golden hour for some reason, try to shoot as close as possible. So if you have clients and they're like, can I shoot after nap time? And that's like 2 p.m. No. Just be like, I'm a lighting expert, and I promise you your photos are gonna look so much better if you just do it a little bit later. Plus it's cooler outside. If it's the summertime, it's just better to wait until golden hour. Or if you're a morning person, you can get up bright and early and do those sessions, and you're going to get a lot better pictures.
Now you can shoot after nap time, especially at weddings. We're shooting at 2 o'clock a lot.
Sometimes you don't have a choice.
But that would be a YouTube video for later about how to shoot in harsh light, and we're not talking about that today.
But that's a good tip. So if you guys have any ideas or any kind of topics that you are confused about, we're happy to cover that. So just comment below.
For sure, for sure. All
right, number 3.
Switch lenses. If you're trying to up your game, don't use the same lens all the time. So April is holding a prime lens.
This is my favorite. It's the 85. And why is it my favorite? Because when you do switch up your lenses to like a fixed lens, not the box lens that it came with, you have lower f-stops, which makes your subjects pop more and your backgrounds get more blurrier. So your photos are going to look that much better when you switch to a fixed lens.
Yeah, there are lenses for every situation and scenario. And I would say too, if you're a newer photographer or if you're not a newer photographer, but you don't have a lot of lenses, that's okay. Because a prime lens, you can move in, you can move your feet in and out. A prime lens is not a zoom lens, by the way.
It's a fixed lens.
Fixed lens, fixed aperture.
So it stays at one point. Right?
This is at 85 millimeters versus like a 70 by 200 that can zoom in from 70 millimeters to 200. So, but that being said, so what I was trying to make a point at, my bad,
Sorry.
was, no, it's not, I was rabbit trailing. So, but is if you have like some lenses, the cheaper ones, the aperture does not go down as low, or f-stop as April just called it. So even if yours is like at a 3.5, it would be better to upgrade your lens to maybe something like, let's say it's a 50 millimeter 3.5, I think, to go down to maybe a 1.8 or a 1.4 would be much better, because like April said, you're getting that creamy, dreamy background, which is dope. So that is as far as like lenses go. But then as far as different scenarios, maybe you tackle a couple. Like, you want to tackle a couple, I tackle a couple.
If you want a zoom
We're just on the fly
lens,
here.
24 by 70.
Solid lens.
So the reason why we love the 24 by 70, we actually have it on our camera right now. We shoot a lot of very tight spaces, like for bridal suites, or when people are walking down the aisle. It's really good to be able to open up that range really, really wide, so that I can get a full, like if you want to think about a full landscape photo of like an entire venue or building, you're kind of zooming way out. And then if you need to zoom in really fast, like for a ring shot or just a kiss or something for your clients, it's really easy just to go floop, and then it zooms right in and it focuses on
the 24 by 70 is a really good all-around lens for sure. And then if you're doing like a sporting event or a ceremony, maybe you do the 70 by 200, because it zooms way in, so you can stay out of everybody's way.
Very heavy.
And then the 85 that April was holding earlier, that is perfect for portrait sessions. So if you have a couple, maybe not a family, you could try a family of 4, but since it's 85, it's very zoomed in, so it's hard to get a big group in it.
Yeah.
So, but if two to 4 people, it's perfect.
Yeah. So the closer you are to the subject, the larger the millimeter is going to be. So 85 is a larger number millimeter, but you are fixed in like zoomed in mode. But like the 24 millimeter, it's going to be more wide angle. So the lower the number, the more wide angle it is.
Correct.
All right, moving on.
Next point. So shooting in manual, which is awesome actually. So that really does give you the creative rights as a photographer. If right now you're shooting in automatic, you're not able to do what the camera is capable of doing, because it's going to automatically try and set your camera for you per the scenario that you're in, your white balance, and as well as the lighting.
Exposure.
Thank you. The lighting, the exposure, and all those things. Everything in the triangle, the exposure triangle. So, but when you set it to manual, you're capable of controlling those so that you can shoot what style is best fit for you, as well as kind of whatever you're feeling at the moment.
Yeah.
So if you're dark and airy, shooting in automatic doesn't work for you. If you're light and airy, shooting in automatic, did I say dark? I meant dark and moody. But anyways, if you're light and airy, you can maybe make that work, but it really does not look as good, and then you have to do a ton of editing later. So literally, April says I say that too much. Literally.
Our kids start saying literally, Dad.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, I have like 4 people that also do it over Teams now. It's really obnoxious. Anyways, but if you take, and I would challenge you this, take a picture with your camera in automatic, and then Google some settings maybe as far as your scenario that you're in right now, and then take a picture in manual, see how much better it looks, because it'll look a ton better. That's the difference between a professional photographer and a photographer.
We actually have a cheat sheet for you too, for different lighting scenarios if you want. I know, I have that for you. I can attach that as well. If you are a newer photographer, sometimes it's a little confusing trying to set your camera in manual, so we get you.
So our last little tip for you today to up your game is to switch to back button focus. So normally a camera will come standard to where this little guy here on the front, not only does it focus, but it also fires. So whenever you press this button, it's gonna go boop, 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 focus, and then it's also gonna click and fire. The obnoxious part about that is you really don't want it to constantly be focusing every time you press this button.
Yeah.
So what we have it set up is there's 2 buttons on the back that we have set to focus, and then this button still fires. So the idea is we press the button back here, it focuses, and then just fire, as opposed to like focus, fire, focus, fire. Ridiculous. So not only does that help with the clarity of your pictures, but it also helps with the speed of your pictures, and it's going to keep your hand a little more steady, because when you're doing this constantly, it's moving your camera around, believe it or not, and any movement messes with it, versus you do this once and then just doot, 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 doot,
Yeah, I know it sounds complicated, and it's like, why switch to back button focus? I mean, the front focuses, but it's actually doing two jobs at one time. It's shutting the shutter and also focusing at the same time. Basically, Jason said it all correctly. I'm just adding it.
It's a good summary. It's
You
a
did
good
a great
summary.
job.
Hey, you look cuter than I do, so people probably listen when she talks.
No,
Yeah?
no, but it's really just an easy fix and a quick way. You'll be able to see your photos start to get a little bit more clearer. So,
Appreciate
thanks for watching.
y'all.
Y'all have a
good
great
one.
day.
Bye.
Bye.